The Meiji era, the age of reformation for Japan, moving away from the age of sword and civil war. It was a hard time for people who only ever carried the blade, some who were called samurai. There are some well-beloved media that added their own touch to this era, like Rurouni Kenshin and Ace Attorney. Yeah, that was bizarre and we never got that game, or the Seven Samurai game based on the anime. Honestly, that is kind of messed up. But in any case, it's one that I got into a while ago, that being Way of the Samurai 2. I played it on a whim and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, I really enjoyed the game. Now let's begin the review of Way of the Samurai 2, Electric Boogaloo. So we begin the game off with a very limited character builder. I'll explain it later since it's more important to mention it with some other mechanics. So, just so you know. And after building a character, we get a brief explanation of when this game is taking place, so you're not lost, as it begins with you being fed by a little young girl. As you learn, this game has choices, and these choices are important, as they will affect how the story will unfold. And yes, the game does allow you to let the story unfold however you want, well, sort of. You know what I mean, in that limited sense, but still a lot of choices in that limited choice. But what it's worth, it made me feel more immersed in the entire thing than anything else than, like, I don't know, Infamous or Fable. Seriously, Deb, stop giving choices in games unless they truly matter or change something, or you're doing it as some theme thing like BioShock did. Honestly here, it really did impress me on how the game kind of sort of changes by what choices you can make, and it's honestly nice to say, at least it does make me feel engaged in what's going on. Though I will say keeping the schedules can be quite hard, as you might understand what you need to do to go to certain routes. It will actually require a guide for going for some secret ending, as they are a bastard to unlock. Honestly, I was surprised they even bothered to make some of those. So for the ease of the reviews, I shall go for the ending that I like the most, as it will allow me to do this review more streamlined, without overloading it with useless stuff, so we're clear. Should also mention that I'm New Game Plusing this, since, you know, might as well, and get it done as quickly as possible. So after thanking the girl, you will begin combat as she walks in front of a group of clowns? I don't know why they look like that, but we decide to intervene and defend her, as we do so easily, and I might as well begin talking about the combat, as it really is simple, but that nice kind of simple. You got a weak and strong attack, sort of, I'll explain, though they always follow a kind of horizontal vertical attack that might seem weak at first because, again, you only got the sword, but after a bit of fighting you'll begin to actually gain skills with this blade, and this is where blade acquisition begins. You see, after killing a foe, they will drop their blade, so it might be really helpful to get those blades, as they will change how they fight. For example, with this ninja blade, I can make deep powerful strikes, while another blade like this thing plays entirely different and can actually change how you will fight some foes. However, don't think you could just swing nilly-nilly, as they can block your strikes and may even parry your strikes to just, well, strike you down. But don't worry, you can do the same by pressing R1 to block, and by pressing forward or backwards while holding your block button, you can actually parry yourself and deal with all sorts of foes, as it really is useful. And depending on how you press out a command, you can actually do a combo, and it's really interesting to say the least. All honesty here, the parry system is a little overpowered since I used it quite a lot throughout the game. But like I said, don't go swinging willy-nilly or even defending that often, because that could actually damage your weapon's durability. All swords have a durability. Swords with high durability are usually good, but that doesn't mean it's the best. For example, you can grab a sword with 3 durability, but its stats are garbage. But you might find a sword with 2 durability, but its stats are good. So it leaves a lot of player choice, and I respect that very much. Though if you die, you'll lose everything. And have to start the game at the beginning, where this is where I'll need to talk about the New Game Plus mechanic and its charm. There is no way to save in this game. Well, sort of. There's an autosave feature if you want to leave the game, but it can't get erased after you return, so why does the game do this? Well, because the game is really short. Like, if you know what you're doing, you can get this game, like, one of the endings in like an hour or two, depending on how good you are. But it does allow for a lot of replayability, and trying to get the game's endings are pretty interesting to say the least. So yeah, after dying or beating the game, you get some points that unlock more stuff for you, like new difficulties and new clothes to wear. Though, one of the things that really confused me was you can actually play as a woman in this game, and that really interests me, but why not just have two simple male and female models at the beginning, but whatever. Now, let's actually get back to the story since it's actually still pretty good. So after rescuing the girl, we meet up with a doctor who's looking after her, and we learn from that she can't actually speak and is unable to read and write. But due to that, she has a small job with the local geisha girl. It's not prostitution. You might think that is, but no, but I can contest that people can be confusing and some people think it is, but because they don't understand shit. She also has a bodyguard for some reason, because that's just weird. Though I would also ask, why would she need a kid to transport messages? I mean, like, they can't be that important. But whatever. So we asked if we could actually teach her, and she actually gets annoyed by this, and she would be losing a valuable asset like her. Though I would be confused on why, because she would still be dependable, she would just not read it like she's been ordered to. I mean, instill loyalty at a young age. I mean, they will never betray you and whatnot, I'm just saying. She then says she needs us to pay her 1,000 yen for her time and an incense stick. But don't worry about the last one, because maybe they originally planned it, or maybe it was some, like, doing some kind of thing where they make up, like, all the small things and a big, ridiculous amount thing. This allows you to now start actually doing jobs for the local bosses of the area. Yeah, power biting for a town. Just this town in particular, so you know. They're weird like that. In this city's case, there are 3 groups vying for power. There's the magistrate, the bandits, and the people. And basically, the magistrates and the bandits are just polar opposite and not really worth playing either side, since both are very bad in both regards. While the bandits are an actual issue, the magistrates are going to become just an issue that they're going to be so strict it's just going to be an up its own ass issue. And like I said, you can earn money however you want. You want to rob that guy's corpse after killing him? Go right ahead. Want to do jobs for either side? Go ahead and do it. You want to earn money through prize fights where you gamble to see if you can win from a foe, and it's really helpful to get your skills up, so you know, do that. It really is fun and nice and all, so yeah. Though it is kind of sad that game action don't affect faction relations that much, so that's a bit of a bummer. But it is cool that if you do make an accidental error, it won't be impossible to go the route you want and keep going on that path for a little bit. But depending on which faction you rely more on, can actually change the prices on shops. Oh yeah, shops. I forgot about them. Shops are all over the place. They can sell a variety of things, mostly healing stuff, maybe items to make you more buff, or stuff to help your sword get better. And that reminds me of the swordsmith. This is Dojima, the swordsmith. Basically, he can make any blade you want a little better depending on what type of sword you got and the quality it is. If it's a higher quality, the more you can upgrade it. So, again, always remember that. And his wife has a service only in the morning and night that will actually allow you to store the blades even if you die. So it's really helpful if you do that, if you can't just beat the game. So once we actually get enough money, which should be easy enough to do, we can actually finally teach her to write and read. And we finally learn the name of the kid is actually Sayo. Once we do that, the guy kind of lets you do whatever you want until the day of the festival, where you can actually get a little cute event where you hang out with her a bit until the bandits come out of nowhere and try to attack everyone for no good reason. Yeah, and this is important because you need to actually protect Sayo if you want to go for that particular ending, just so you're clear. So after that, you kind of learn that something's up with everything, as the next day, the doctor's home is set ablaze as someone has just killed the doctor, who was really nice by the way, and is somehow really chilled with it all. And thus Sayo is alone, with no one to really take care of her, until a strange event occurs. The inn that the geisha girl woman was owner just kind of comes out of nowhere and decides to take her in, which is odd, but I'll explain why he did that later, or I think, because sometimes the endings are weird like that. But before it can be official, the bandits actually want Sayo now, and it's our job to stop them, as we make it a point to settle this. as we actually head to the bandit base and try to get answers out of them, while also killing the clowns that we saw earlier. Now, here's where it gets a bit crazy. You see, Sayo somehow knows a formula for an elixir known as Soma. No, not that one. It's some sort of ultra medicine that the doctor had, and the magistrate killed him to hide it. But since Sayo used it to learn how to write, she now knows it. And basically the bandits want her now to sell off the recipes to get buttloads of money. Actually, he even tells us, hey, why don't you just join us? But being the super badass samurai we are, we just kill him straight up. And take his sword while we're at it because it was actually a good blade. Actually, speaking of certain enemies, some enemies actually have super unique swords. So try to find some if you can, but again, you can only carry some amount of them, only like 3. So yeah, try to store them. So after returning to the inn, we learn that Sayo actually went to the magistrate just so to not cause any more harm to anyone, as we then mount a daring rescue mission, though not before saying a line that I just love, and I have to recite it as it's that awesome. I am the wind, and you cannot kill the wind. Badass. Okay, since this game doesn't tell characters' backstory and doesn't make one for us, I decided to make up one for this game. So this character here, I called him Dumon. A game I used for all my characters. He was once a samurai who was feared for his sword skills. Over time, he soon became to serve under a master who married his old love, who still cared about for one another, but she had fallen for the Lord, as the Lord did likewise. I know. Trying to build up this elaborate shit and try to fill up time, but hey, fuck it. It was interesting to make up. The young samurai was content with that, as he knew his happiness is not as important as others' happiness, and he lived with that motto. They soon had a child, and the samurai became his traitor. So one day he would hold the mantle of a true samurai, and in a sense, he thought of himself as a sort of father figure for the child. But soon, tragedy struck, that not only did the woman soon die of disease, on her deathbed he promised to watch over the young lord, but was unable to keep that promise, as soon enough the castle was attacked and everyone died except the samurai, who barely survived and was left to live by the attacker's leader due to his sheer determination. The samurai continues on, trying to find meaning and forgiveness in his life, being content with dying if it is for a noble cause on his terms, the true way a samurai would die, in battle. So that was my book attempt. Oh, I'm sorry for that. I thought it would be interesting to say what sort of story I made up. In any case, as we are facing the magistrate themselves, we face the man who actually killed the doctor, as they knew this would end like this, since both of them are samurai, but with no other recourse, they begin the battle for their beliefs. Soon enough, after striking a finishing blow on him, he asks us why, and we answer in such a badass way. I protect the innocent. As the magistrate dies, as he laments that he lost his way. As we rescue Sayo, we meet the leader himself, and he just lets us go, as we had the heart of a samurai. The game ends with us leaving, knowing that if we stay it would cause more issues, and we still try to find forgiveness in our own little way. But we find Sayo, who wants to join us, as we just sigh a bit and walk in hand with her to a place where the samurai can at least know some peace. That was Way of the Samurai 2, a game I really enjoyed, and I didn't think I would enjoy so much. But god damn it, was it really good. So, if you ever see it, go try it, it's really good. Next time will be a backlog.